Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. We are at the end of the quarter. It is March 31st, 2016. We have got just about 6 minutes to go to the close. And what are we seeing in the markets? A whole lot of nothing today. So tomorrow morning, just keep in mind, tomorrow morning, that's Friday morning. Maybe you're watching this on Friday morning. Friday morning, though, the employment situation. And really, the S&Ps, the NASDAQ, the Dow, I mean, absolutely big donuts across the board over here. Massively unchanged across the board. Volatility, nothing. The only thing that's really on the move today, okay, happens to be the bond market, which puts us in a little bit of a precarious position coming into tomorrow's employment situation. Again, bonds have gone bid here just a little bit. Okay, is this the breakout to the upside that we have been looking for? And I'll tell you what, bonds on an intraday basis, it's not often I say this, but I was trading back and forth in the bonds several times today. Looking to individual underlyings over here, again, you got some of what I call the, I know that people call them the FANG stocks. I call them the titans of technology. A little bit of weakness, nothing to speak of. Don't read into the noise of this marketplace right now. And I say don't read into the noise. Every little nuance and every little move, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Okay? Algorithms are firing off. There's going to be profit. There's going to be loss over here. Just the oscillation, just a little volatility on a day-to-day basis can make you really profitable if you know what you're doing out there. In fact, that's what I'm going to make the theme, okay, of kind of tonight's session over here is, do you know what you're doing? So for that, I'm going to pull up the XLE. I'll use it as my example. It's trading right around like 62 bucks. The only reason I'm using the XLE over here, not because it has anything to do with energy, but because it's a nice round number. All right, with 4 minutes to the close, again, the broader market's doing a whole lot of nothing. It's a great time just to spend a few minutes, okay, and talk about logic of trade. And this is something I'm going to be reiterating again and again. I'm just going to be hammering home during this weekend's in and out spreads class. So again, the in-out spread, let me show you a little bit about the logic of this using the XLE. I'm going to open up the 29-day options. Now, if you're listening to this, you may have never traded an option before. That is fine. Okay, when I start discussing logic, one of the things I want to bring up, okay, on the thinkorswim trading application happens to be none other than probability of touching. So we bring up probability of touching. And when you look at trading days like today, and I say that, you know, markets are kind of waffling around over here, well, all that really means, okay, is the market, it's just oscillating, okay, kind of floating listlessly up and down. But what I want you to realize is there's really effective strategies that you can use, okay, in a marketplace that is either floating or is extremely volatile. And a lot of people really, they don't spend the time to figure out the logic. All they're worried about is the direction of the market, direction of the market. In this case, direction of the market, it's not going to matter that much. So I'm going to go 29 days out. Okay, I'm going to go 29 days out, and all I want you guys to look at is a trade that's used all the time. People go out there and they buy stock, for instance, at 62, right? Then they set their stop order at about 60, so this is going to be our, okay, stop, and then they set the target price, okay, right around 64. So here's where they're buying the stock. There's where the stop order is. There's the target price, 64 to the upside. Do you ever think to look at probability on this? For the next 29 days, we are going to look at probability of this. There's a almost, 67% chance of touching the level of 60. That's what probability of touching means. Conversely, if you look at the chance, what's the chance of going up to what? 64 to hit your target over there. Your target probability of touching, okay, is only about what? In this case, about a 58% probability of touching the upside. Now, your probability of getting stopped out is substantially higher than your probability of touching your target price. Do you see a problem? I do. If you're to go out and you're to do a strategy like this again and again and again, think about it. You don't have to be right. 50% of the time. You got to be right upwards of 60, 70% of the time. That's just to be able to break even, because you're getting stopped out substantially more than hitting your target over there. Now, trade logic, again, is everything. Directional bias is going to be secondary. You need to learn how to go out, okay, and circumnavigate using things like stops over there. One of those things you could do, okay, would be a type of a spread. And this, okay, really in a simple format, this is what they kind of call the in-out spread. It's one strike in the money, one strike out of the money. We're going to go out and we're going to do a trade, okay? We're roughly speaking, and I'm going to freeze the screen over here for a second so you guys can see this. Roughly speaking, what we're initially going to do is we're going to risk a buck to be able to make a buck. But we're going to look at probability of making that buck, okay, being as high as an 80% probability. Why? There's no stop order in this trade. So if we have a bucket risk, we're never going to be stopped out. What happens if the XLE goes all the way down to what? I don't know, 55. Let's say it goes down to 55. Oh, we got killed. Yeah, we lost $1. What happens if it goes down to 60? Oh, we lose $1. But you realize it could go down to 60. And in the next 29 days could come right back up. For you to be profitable in here, you'd be north of 63. Now time out. For you to be profitable, you just need to be north of 63. And there's the closing bell. What's the probability being north of 63? As I told you, there's a 77% chance of that occurring. So there's almost an 80% probability of that particular trade, okay, having a degree of success inside of the next 29 days. And that's the kind of logic that I really want to permeate, okay, that traders miss, that you don't have to use a stop order and you can still have a rather high probability of success, okay? This, again, is the key to trading. This is exactly what I'm going to be covering this Saturday. Now, here's what you need to know, okay? If you're going to do these in-out spreads, entry criteria and exit criteria, it's absolutely essential. You know, everybody's like, everybody doesn't do this. You got to know, first of all, what stocks to actually do this on. Okay, what stocks to trade this on. I use the XLE in that example. Okay, great. How do you determine whether you're bullish or bearish? A big portion of this in-out spreads class that I'm going to be doing, again, this coming Saturday, it is coming up. It's April 2nd, okay? And the class, it's early, 7 a.m., okay? That's Pacific time. It's not that early. It's 10 a.m., you know, what, Eastern time. It's going to run from 10 to 2. It's about a 4-hour class. What expiration do you select over there? What strikes do you use? Do you have any idea how many options are on something like the XLE? Like 1,000. Position sizing. Again, I'll reiterate back to how do you determine whether you're bullish or bearish? Huge portion of the class. I'm actually going to give you different scans and setups for being bullish, for being bearish over there. Execution of the trade, obviously the correct probability. This is what the in-out spreads class is going to answer. Everything we do at TheoTrade has got step-by-step criteria to walk you in the trade, okay, to ultimately be able to get you out of the trade. You got to do this effectively and efficiently. Now, the class, it is coming up over here. High probability in-out spreads, Saturday, April 2nd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. This is really what we're going to do. This is a strategy that's used, okay, daily by professionals for consistent returns. I also want you to know you do not have to monitor these spreads. Okay, you don't have to sit there like a mad person all day like, am I in, am I out? Am I in and out? You can even use good till canceled orders for execution both in and execution out of it, okay? Go to theotrade.com/spreads. All of the spreads that we're going to do have defined risk. You're going to know exactly what your risk is on the way in, exactly what your risk is, okay, coming out of that thing. The spreads are easy to learn, okay, and extremely easy to place, and you do not have to have a big account. If anything, you trade small, you stay small. The regular price for the class, it's $500, okay? Enroll for the in-out spreads class right now, it's $150. So again, normally the class is $500. It's your introduction to TheoTrade. We invite you to come to the class April 2nd. It's a discounted rate of $150. Again, even if you're trading a very, very small account, one successful trade is going to return you many times the investment of $150. At the very least, you come to the class, you're going to find out how not to take a $150 hit the next time you do a trade, like buying a call or buying a put, or even something crazier like using a stop order. But how do you want to get the class for free? Okay? we can do just that. You can sign up for Total Theo for 3 months, for 12 months, and we're actually going to throw in the April 2nd high probability trading with in-out spreads class free of charge. If you become a Total Theo member, you're actually going to receive any of our online classes during your subscription period free of charge. Again, come check this out over here. It's going to be TheoTrade.com/spreads. Again, if you sign up for TheoTrade for 3 months or 12 months, we are going to give you this class for free. It's going to be part of it. Again, you really want to learn how the markets work and how to manage your risk and kind of minimize that risk over there. We're actually going to walk you through it step by step. Let me actually take you over to the site over here. Again, this is high probability trading with in-out spreads. Explains a little bit of it, not only about the high probability trading with in-out spreads class, which is $150. Again, if you want to be able to get that class for free, you sign up for Total Theo. You may ask, what is a Total Theo? Total Theo, okay, we've actually got a coaching program that we do in Total Theo. Okay, that coaching program, it's daily coaching sessions. Everything is archived. Everything from spreads to volatility to scalping, intraday trading, okay? No matter what your experience level. In fact, okay, we're even going to do a little bit more of an options basics coming up over here. We also have the Theo Night video newsletter. That's the daily video newsletter over there. The Theo evening coaching sessions. That is Wednesday evening. We're actually going to walk you through a coaching session, all being archived for you. There's Theo Chat. That's a real-time chat room, okay? I am in it. We've got a number of other traders that are in there every single day. They're handing you their trades in real time. In fact, we even track the trades for you in what we kind of call our trade tracker over there. If you can't watch during the trading day, we get it. Just keep an eye on the TheoTrade tracker and you're in. You know, you can follow these trades. You don't have to sit there all day long waiting for us to do a trade. Check it at the end of the day. The trades, they're not just going to, just disappear. Then we've actually got the Theo class. It's a monthly class, okay, on a host of different topics over there. Again, every month we do a class, and what you're ultimately doing here is you're signing up, okay, for 3 months of TheoTrade. And that 3 months, it includes everything we talked about. You realize there's a lot of different education firms out there. I spent 15 years at a brokerage firm running their education division. A $20 billion company allowed me to teach all of their clients, including institutional clients. Check this out, because other education firms, they're going to charge you, okay, a few $100s for coaching, sometimes even a few thousand. For a video newsletter, they're going to charge you $50, $100 a month, okay? Again, for a chat room, at least $150 a month just for the chat room. We do everything, including the classes. And classes alone, they can cost you anywhere from $99 for a 2-hour class, all the way up to a few $1,000s, depending upon what classes you're going to. We do it all. We do it a lot better. It's $297, and we will give you the high probability trading with in-out spreads class. That is this Saturday's class is going to be included with Total Theo. I said, how do you actually get this thing for free? Okay, you sign up for $297, and you're actually going to get 3 months of classes, 3 months of coaching out there. Everything you need, okay, is in this $297. But then you're probably going to ask yourself, well, why is there 12 months? Because for 12 months, we'll actually do it for $997, okay? However, okay, in that 12 months for $997, we are also throwing in additional classes over here. Bonus class number 1, Survive and Thrive in Extreme Volatility. It's a class I actually did back in January. It is just that. It is extreme. It's talking about how to mitigate risk of your portfolio. We talk about 401ks, your IRAs over there. Class number 2, this is kind of my mantra, if you will. Sell premium, okay, and minimize risk class. That's selling out of the money options, selling premium and mitigating risk. It's probably one of the more advanced classes we're going to do. But ultimately, what do we do in that class? We actually teach you a little bit about selling out of the money premium, layering in that premium, okay, and managing the risk behind it. If you guys ever have heard about option Greeks, that's your class. That is the Greek geek class of them all. Number 3 over here, Iron Condors. Iron up with Iron Condors. That is definitive entry and exit criteria, okay? It is all included in this particular class. And number 4, Okay, this is Options 101. You might be listening to this right now, have no idea what an option even is. We're actually going to include that. Okay, it is a 5-part series of Options 101. So what's the difference here between Total Theo? Okay, for 3 months and 12 months. For 12 months, we throw in, okay, many additional classes there. Volatility, Iron Up, the premium selling class, Options 101. Even if you're experienced, I bet you could use a little bit of the review there. So check it out. Again, the high probability trading with in-out spreads class. When is it coming up? This Saturday. Can't make it? That's fine. It's archived. Everything is archived. The archives are available instantaneously. At any point, you can review it, okay, as long as you want to review it over there. If you want to learn how to get that class, that high probability trading in-out spreads class for free, go right here. It's Total Theo for 3 months. It's $297. It'll include the high probability trading with in-out spreads. Again, TheoTrade over here, it's all encompassing. Join us again. See everybody here April 2nd, bright and early. Thanks a lot here for joining us at TheoTrade. Bye-bye.